Decisions in life and education with eLearning partners. Changing the education system to focus on the things that really matter. Not necessarily a change, but more of a shift. Decisions in life, decisions in education.
And we also got a free masterclass for you, because we know if you're creating an education specifically online, if you're creating an e-learning program, an online program, whatever the case may be, you want to guarantee success. That's why we have that free masterclass. It's linked below. Definitely go check it out.
And more importantly than, not more important than free masterclass, that's important stuff.
That's really important, yeah.
But more importantly than just shifting the education system, we really want to get people to a place of thinking forward about where their time is, where they put it, and it being life-sustaining decisions that they're making. And we've got to get to that.
I mean, I'll add to that too, Daniel. I mean, one of the biggest things in education, is education important? Absolutely, right? I feel like though, especially in the traditional context of kids going to school, there's a lot of really important things specifically to have a healthy life, to be a healthy person, that they don't talk about. And you say it best: food, water, and energy.
For sure. Ultimately, we were spending a lot of time teaching things that are important, but not necessarily supporting longevity for the rest of your life. We need to really put those foundational principles in play for people early on.
You know, it kind of reminds me of, I'm trying to remember the name of this head coach, right? But there was this head coach to an NBA basketball team.
Okay.
And when he joined, he's like, I'm going to teach you guys how to dribble. They're like, what? Teach me how to dribble? I'm in the NBA, but it's the fundamentals. And one of the key fundamentals is food, right?
For sure.
You know, we all kind of go day by day, you know, let me just grab something quick. Let me grab a McDonald's cheeseburger or whatever the case may be. And we don't remember the importance of the fuel that we're putting into our body. We don't teach that, you know, to our kids. We don't, even adults, we don't know. We don't teach that, right?
I was sitting in this classroom one time with a young person, asking them about dairy products. Asking them where they come from. He said, the grocery store.
Wow.
I said, where's the cow in the grocery store? Is that in the cold aisle? I was like, got it, understood. And that level of disconnect is what I'm talking about. Like, is it laughable? Sure. Is it also kind of alarming? Absolutely.
Absolutely. No, of course. You don't even know where your food is coming from, which that's one of the big problems, right?
You know, I'm trying to talk to this kid about where's his food coming from. I had to ask him. I was like, you know, matter of fact, let me break it down a little bit further. Where do you get your energy from? He's like, I'm hungry. If I'm hungry, I need energy, I eat. I'm like, right. What is the animal that you're eating? And he's just kind of processing. He's like, I don't know. What does chicken eat? I was like, they eat whatever's on the ground. What does the cow eat? Grass. Just kind of went down that line with them. You know, if you like pork and whatnot, they eat, you know, what they eat. I said, ultimately, you can cut them out and just go eat more whole foods. And he just kind of looked at me like, so you want me to go from one grocery store to another grocery store? I said, no. I want you to think about things that are coming from the earth. And this is really where I think I got into really getting the light bulb moment to go off for him. I said, what does that chicken taste like that you like? He's like, whatever we season with. My mama seasons it real good. I said, what's that steak taste like that you like? Or that burger? He mentions everything. And I was like, none of those things are the void of you having to season them. I said, strawberry has its own taste. Grape has its own taste. Cantaloupe, lettuce, they got their own taste. He just kind of looked perplexed a little bit. I was like, those are whole foods. Those are the things that you need to eat more of. Those are the things that we're not necessarily being taught in grade school.
So when it comes to whole foods, what I'm hearing, especially this younger generation, right? They're used to going to the grocery store where everything's already put together, all the ingredients, all the foods are, but they may not realize that everything is derived from whole foods. And not only is everything derived from whole foods, but also eating whole foods is really important for health and longevity.
Absolutely. And one of the things when you start really dive down and pull back the layers of understanding what's going on for people, or for kids anyway, you're really starting to open up a certain layer of the environment and life altogether. And we get to talking about sun. It's important to the earth. So, you know, the same kid in the same classroom, we're able to start talking about the importance of whole foods. Where did they come from? And how did they get here? And was able to start talking about how do we get energy from wherever it comes from, how does it get to earth, and you got to have water to really, you know, affect that. Photosynthesis, we start talking about how are things green. That's where the actual energy is coming from, and there's no energy coming to the earth that didn't derive from the sun initially. But the importance of the water Because if you've got toxic water, because we've been polluting our water streams, or we've been not taking care of or being good stewards of the water table, the likelihood that you're going to be able to grow good whole foods in your neighborhood is low. Or if that soil hasn't been taken care of, it's going to contaminate the water with any kind of runoff. That's an educational aspect that is beyond recycling, which it kind of gets thrown into water conservation. And recycling is a fad, or if your city wants to do it, doesn't want to do it, it may or may not take place. But I feel like it's paramount for human sustainability in the long term, and something that if it's going to be mandated that everybody's got to go to some type of school, we should be thinking about how the education system is, kind of affirming these life. We should think about how the education system is really pushing these life-affirming elements. So.
And also, I'll add to that as well. It's also how the education system is teaching, the kids, and not just kids, adults. What does water look like around the world?
Right.
Because water is absolutely essential to survival. Obviously, we can't survive without water. And I feel like the reason why we overlook food, we overlook water, and when we get to energy, we'll talk about energy. We overlook energy is because, those are things that we need to survive. So it's easy to brush off.
Right.
But they're so critical.
Yeah.
It's like breathing, right? A lot of people we just breathe, but there's a technique and a way to breathe to give more oxygen to your body.
Absolutely.
Right.
Like this. And so when we're talking about water and what's that look like, it's everywhere. So it feels kind of abstract and not tangible, but our effect on it is how well we are keeping our lives from entering it, if you will. Trash, plastic, so on and so forth. So water conservation is a topic that really should be conservation. Is that how you spell that?
Yeah, conservation. Boom.
It should really be, I think, a critical part and parcel piece of educational curriculum and delivery.
And and in addition to that, right? So this is a great transition to energy.
Absolutely.
Right. Because obviously we need energy, food, life, everything, energy. But how about the type of energy?
Right.
How energy impacts different things. How different energy impacts different foods. Even,
right. So this could go down a sprawling rabbit hole that we don't have the time to, and this isn't the platform for that. But I would say when I'm talking about energy, I'm talking about the housing and transportation of people and goods. If my lettuce has to come from 4,000 miles away, that's a strain on the energy. I'm really curious about what is in this food, because it's probably not whole foods if it's still wet, cold, and crispy by the time it travels 4,000 miles to get to me from California to the East Coast. The likelihood that is something life-sustaining is probably low. So, at the end of the day, outside of the abstract mention of the sun providing energy to the food, then providing energy to us on a larger level, but more direct, the energy being the transportation of and housing of people and goods.
And one last point I also want to say, kind of bringing all these three things together. The reason why, I also see this being absolutely critical, to the education system is because by teaching these three elements and having, especially from a young age, understand the importance of this, you're going to allow people to start understanding and getting a deeper perspective on how to respect themselves.
Yeah.
Their peers and their community around them,
For sure.
and the world as well.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day,
shared space that we all live in.
we all live in.
Yep.
We're all so caught up in work and this and that. Without these three things, we can't live.
It doesn't matter what you're doing.
Right? And it's funny that these are the three things that most people don't have a huge education on, and we don't prioritize in the education system.
And quite frankly, we have, and I don't want to go too far into it, but it's a part of it is by design. The powers that be know that our food system and our lack of good clean drinking water across the American diaspora anyway is killing us. That's why the Food and the Drug Administration are the same people. And I think it's unfortunate that these most important life-sustaining things we leave to other folk. We leave to the institutions, we leave to the government, we leave to whoever we leave it to make sure that our water is clean, to make sure that our food is on our table, and to make sure that our energy is there. When I personally believe we all need a 10 by 10 plot. If you're living in Denver and it's snowing, that means you got some hydroponics happening in your garage. But you need to be having your own stuff somewhere, and it just changes how we see ourselves in the world, our responsibility to ourselves, to our neighbors even. It's a different class system when there is no such thing, because we all need the same thing, right?
That was perfect. That was perfect, man. Again, we are eLearning partners. Thanks for the likes and the subscribes. Remember, we have a free masterclass link below. Go check it out, and we'll see you there.
Click it.